Was Gennady Golovkin exposed by Kell Brook? I've seen a lot of people in YouTube comments and a lot of people all over social media saying that he was exposed. A lot of people are saying now that they give Canelo a very good chance of beating Golovkin. A lot of people outright picking Canelo to beat him now. Their whole perception of Golovkin as a fighter has changed just because of that Kell Brook fight. But as I've mentioned in previous videos, perception is everything. Whether you thought Golovkin got exposed was based on what you expected before the fight or what you thought was possible before the fight. If you were one of these people, and there were many people like this, if you were one of these people who thought that Golovkin was just going to go in there and be flawless and hardly get hit with anything at all and just walk straight through Kell Brook with no problems, if that was what you expected and nothing else in your mind was possible, you know, in terms of it being competitive or Golovkin getting hit a lot, if none of that was possible, if it was all totally ridiculous, then yeah, you're going to look at what happened in the fight and say, Golovkin got exposed because you couldn't envisage that happening before the fight. But a lot of other people could. So if you're somebody that thought, yeah, Brook will give it a good go for 3-4 rounds, he'll land good shots on Golovkin, but he'll eventually get taken out. There were some people who said that, and those people will look at that fight and say, well, Golovkin wasn't exposed because I got the fight that I expected. So perception really is everything. And here's my take on it. I wasn't shocked at all by the way the fight played out. You have to bear in mind, people, that Kell Brook is a world-class fighter, albeit at a lower weight. He's much faster than the guys Golovkin is used to facing. He's more accurate than the guys Golovkin is used to facing. And even against the guys Golovkin has faced prior to fighting Kell Brook, Golovkin's been getting hit in fights, people. This guy's never been a defensive wizard. You go back and look at the Daniel Gill fight, he got hit in that fight. Look at the Curtis Stevens fight, he got hit. The guy does get hit, people. So if guys like Gill and Stevens are able to land shots on Golovkin, why are you so shocked that somebody who's faster than both of those guys and more accurate than both of those guys was able to land even more shots on him? That shouldn't be shocking. I think people, a certain section of people did overblow Golovkin in their mind, and that sounded kind of dodgy right there. That's I should say no homo, but that's their business. You get me? That's them. Maybe they are thinking about Golovkin in that way. I don't know. But still, I think they let their imaginations get carried away with them a little bit in terms of what Golovkin is actually capable of and what he can do and can't do. He's never been great defensively. He does get hit. So what unfolded in the Brook fight certainly didn't surprise me. And I think there's a lot of people in the same boat as me who will be looking at that fight saying, nah, Golovkin didn't get exposed. He just, Brook just exploited certain weaknesses better than previous opponents. But those weaknesses have always been there in Golovkin. And they're always going to be there. He is what he is. This is why I feel that Eubank Jr. will do better than Kell Brook, I think. Because he's much bigger. He's a natural middleweight. He's actually bigger than Golovkin, taller. And I think he has the physical strength on the inside to actually wrap Golovkin up. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was a strategy of the Eubanks, if and when they do fight Golovkin, to actually try and push Golovkin back. Kell Brook didn't have the strength to do that. But I think Eubank Jr. does have the strength. And when I say pushing back, I'm not talking about hitting with punches that make him go back. No, I'm talking about physically pushing back, manhandle him on the inside the way that Evander Holyfield did to Mike Tyson. He physically grabbed him and pushed him and walked him back to the ropes to make him feel like he was a ragdoll in there and to try and impose himself on Tyson psychologically. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eubanks go for that type of strategy and they go for a really mauling, ugly, clinch-filled type of fight where they try and drag Golovkin down into a messy affair where Eubank is trying to impose his physical strength on Golovkin and, mess him around on the inside and smother Golovkin's punches. I think the Eubanks might go for that kind of thing. Or at least that might be their plan B if plan A ain't working. And I think because of Eubanks' size and physical strength and his effectiveness with the uppercut, I reckon that he'll go longer than Brook did. I do. And, you know, he may not be as accurate as Brook in general, but his uppercut is accurate. And I do feel like Golovkin is open to that shot. And I think Kell Brook exposed that to some extent. The fact that he's open to the uppercut. I wouldn't say exposed in general. So those are my thoughts on whether Golovkin was exposed. It all depends on what you expected before the fight, people. I'm at a loss to understand why people thought Golovkin would look immaculate and hardly get hit with anything. Given the fact he's in there with such a fast, skillful fighter that's coming up from 2 weight divisions below, who's used to fighting fighters far quicker than Golovkin. So why would you think that Golovkin would be immaculate? And now you're saying, oh, he got exposed. This is terrible. Now Canelo Alvarez would destroy him. I still think Golovkin would stop Canelo Alvarez. Golovkin is so heavy-handed, it's ridiculous. And when he starts touching Canelo Alvarez, who, remember, is shorter than Kell Brook. Yeah, he's not as tall as Brook. I'm sure he don't have as long arms as Brook. I don't know what the reach is, but the arm length, I don't think Canelo's is as long as Kell Brook's. Brook was having decent success with his jab and then he was pulling his head out of the way. I think Canelo would be more of a stationary target for Golovkin. He wouldn't be able to get out of the way that Brook was here and there. Canelo will be more stationary, and I think that will be more to Golovkin's favor. With that being said, Canelo is a better combination puncher than Kell Brook. When a guy squares up in front of Canelo the way that Golovkin would, Canelo would be able to get off those wicked combinations that he does throw. You know, he's very, very good at putting his hands together, Canelo. That's one thing I like about him. But can Canelo put a dent in Golovkin? Personally, he might be able to put a little bit more of a dent in him than Brook can, but I still don't think it will be enough. That's just my personal view. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Maybe you disagree with everything I've said and you think that Golovkin was totally exposed, he's a fraud, and he's just waiting to be taken out by a legitimate middleweight. Maybe that's how you feel. If it is, drop it in the comment section below. All right? It's your boy Hatman. I'm out.